Hey everybody, what's up y'all? Welcome back to my channel, TammyTalks here. Let's talk Real Housewives of Atlanta season 14, episode 19. This is the reunion part 2. If you're brand new to my channel, I do breakdowns of various TV shows, both scripted and reality, interjecting my own thoughts, opinions, and theories into each and every recap. So, if you enjoy the type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure you guys will thumbs it up the video on your way in or your way out. And then hop into the comment section, y'all. Let's talk about this part of the reunion. I thought it was boring. I thought it was boring. I'm sure this reunion did not and does not need to be 3 episodes, but this particular part was boring to me. But let's talk about it. So we pick up where we ended last week, with Marlo talking about how she bounced from foster home to foster home, and she said that the women judge her and they belittle her because of her fashions, and that's when Kenya interrupts and is like, "That's not true. That's not true at all." She said that it's because Marlo contradicts herself. So Marlo will say that no, we don't know. We can't say the name of anybody that she slept with and all this other stuff. But then in the same breath, she'll turn around and call Kandi a hoe and say that Kandi can't keep a man because her love below is trash. You know what I mean? So she's like, it's the fact that she is very contradictory and she's a hypocrite. Marlo got ate up on this reunion. While, Marlo's circumstances of being, a product of foster care and stuff like that. It's a sad story, but I just don't feel like that gives you license to behave the way that Marlo behaves. So they did talk about the break-in at Marlo's house, and Kenya said that Kenya posted a status, and Kenya felt that Marlo didn't share pertinent information with the rest of the group to keep them safe. So it went from being the man shows up at Kandi's house to then we have Marlo having this break-in. Something happened at Drew's house. So they, Kenya wanted to get onto a conference call where they could say, okay, let's get this all together. What can we do to not only keep each other safe, but keep ourselves safe in this situation? Marlo did not want to give any details. But I guess she apparently did some interviews. Kenya feels that that's kind of shady. Sheree said that Marlo, came to her house a couple of days later and told her everything. Marlo said she couldn't because of different aspects that were going on with law enforcement and how they were handling it. So we didn't get on the issue of Marlo kicking her nephews out of the house. So Marlo said that maybe she phrased it wrong, okay? She said that she shouldn't have said she kicked them out. She should have said that she needed a rest. And Marlo goes on and goes through and gives herself all these excuses about how foster parents take classes and they learn how to better cope and all this other stuff. And it really comes down to, Marlo, while that is true, foster parents do go through a more rigorous thing. You reached out and you offered to take your nephews, which is great. Like Kandi said, you're putting them in the best schools. You're giving them all the basics that they need, the stuff that they want. Like she mentioned that they're wearing Gucci and Yeezys and all this other stuff, but then you turn around and you put them out because you need a break. I'm sorry, but I personally think that is absolutely fucking ridiculous. If my brother and his wife had a child and for whatever reason I needed to take care of that child and take that child in, my niece or nephew in, I'm not gonna say, oh shit, I need a break, so going to stay with somebody else for the next 30 days so that I can get back to being fabulous and living life the way that I want to. That's bullshit, Marlo. And it's like Marlo knows that she talked herself into a corner and she should have never did it. That was probably the absolute worst thing that Marlo could have tried to use for a storyline. The absolute worst. The absolutely totally worst thing that Marlo could have done. So, Kenya, while Marlo's talking about this, Kenya reaches over and asks for tissue. Andy said, oh, are you getting choked up? Kenya said, no, my nose is cold. Kenya wanted the story to change. Kenya blotted her face and then put that napkin, that tissue down. I thought she was getting it for Kandi, but nonetheless. So they move on to the next situation, and in Kenya, or the next little story, and Marlo would say, "Well, I expect that from Kenya. Hurt people, and that's why Kenya says hurtful things to her. Both Kenya and Marlo are hurt, which is why they lash out the way that they do. Right? They both have not the greatest childhoods. They both have not had the best luck with men. I think the biggest difference between the two of them is that Kenya does at least know how to be a friend. Marlo picks at people when she's jealous of them. When she feels threatened by them, when she feels that she's not fitting in, that's what she does. We have seen Kenya at least maintain a friendship or two. Marlo doesn't know how to do that. So then Andy asks, they show like a clip of all the different receipts. So Andy asks if it's more pressure for them to remain honest with how production pulled out a bunch of receipts this year. I think one of the biggest receipts was Marlo saying that I don't mention people's parents, marriage, or kids when I'm arguing with them. And then they show scenes of Marlo saying something about Kenya's mother not wanting her, about Mark not wanting her, and then something about Brooklyn. So they all were like, yeah, definitely, yeah. And I feel like it shouldn't take for somebody to be like, I'm taping you, and I can pull back up the footage, pull up the receipt for you to not lie about it, for you to not lie in general. But what do I know? I'm not on TV. But I just kind of feel like it shouldn't take that for you to like not want to lie. Maybe that's just me. Kenya then goes on to say, nope, some people don't even care. Marlo's gonna lie just to be lying, because that's what we have seen Marlo do. So we talk about Kenya. We get to Kenya's package. KANDI said that all the good energy that Kenya had, the high from Dancing with the Stars and all this other stuff, was just kind of shining through. Kenya said that she just felt good. Kenya was in a good mood 85% of the season. The other 15% was really at the expense of Marlo, like, coming at her, and then, like, Sanya kind of coming at her. So Kenya says she is still not divorced. There's no hold up. It's just that they're at a standstill. So they have to wait for a trial date, or they're gonna have to take a settlement. So until that happens, they are still going to be legally married. So she said that she is doing some group dating, nothing serious. She goes out, hangs out with groups of friends. They might have some dates. That's all she's doing right now. But she's just waiting for the right guy to come about. Sanya said they get on the issue of Sanya talking, or Kenya hanging up on Sanya about the group trip. Sanya said that she should have phrased it differently. When she was talking to Marlo and when she was talking to Sheree, she made it known to them that they can bring a friend or something like that and didn't have to be a couple. With Kenya, however, she never said that. She kept saying couple, 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 because when they were in New York, Kenya said she didn't know it was a couple's trip, which she should have, because she was standing right there when KANDI said it, and even said that she would bring a date herself. So I kind of feel like that's bullshit. Sanya was definitely trying to be shady with it. It wasn't the fact of, oh, I just want to make sure that you knew you were being shady with it. Because why would you not say it, or just bring somebody? Why would you not say that in general to Kenya, but you said it right away to Sheree and Marlo? Sanya did a lot of backtracking. So Kenya said she does not regret hanging up the phone. It doesn't. So Kenya said that she wanted to go to iFit because one of the questions was, why was it such a big deal to go? Kenya said she really wanted to go because she missed something important the day before. And she did not want Sanya to feel like she was missing something else again. Sanya said that when she saw Marlo come and not them, she assumed the bus was out there and they just didn't want to come. So she just took it at that. Both Sheree and Kenya are standing 10 toes down on the fact that that bus was not there, even though we saw Sheree sitting over by the pool laughing and kikiing. At the time, she should have been standing her ass out front waiting on the bus. But we're going to gloss over that, I guess. So, they then get on the issue of why Sheree told Sanya that you need to come at Kenya a certain way. And Kenya was like, uh-huh. So Sanya was saying you just have to hold your ground when it comes to Kenya in order for her to respect you. Don't fold. You know what I mean? Stand up, be ready to go toe for toe, and then Kenya will respect you more as a person. And there, I can see that because Kenya is the type that if she can walk over you, she's going to. She's not going to respect you. People typically don't respect people that they can walk all over. But if when I talk to you, you at least come back at me with not necessarily hostility and stuff like that, but if you can hold your own in conflict and in an argument, then yeah, you're going to, command respect from people. When you command respect from people, you get it, as opposed to just kind of wishing and hoping and waiting for people to respect you. So while this is going on, Sheree's phone conveniently rings. It's Martell. Kenya answers the phone. Everyone's looking at Martell, and I'm like, what is this? What is this crossover that's happening? Are we going to see Sheree on Love and Marriage Huntsville? I hope not. I really and truly hope not. So then we move on to Andy asking Kenya if she ever met up with the guy John from Jamaica. Kenya said, I ain't that thirsty for no man. I ain't that pressed. I can get a man. Don't even worry about that. I can get sex. Don't even worry about that. So Kenya, and they get on Kenya and Sanya. And Andy brings up how Sanya said that whenever Kenya is backed into a corner when she's called out for her behavior, she makes up some sob story or she relies on her sob stories. Kenya said that she was really hurt about that because she shared some personal things with Sanya that she hasn't shared with anybody else. So the fact that Sanya would even say something like that, she said it really hurt her feelings. Sanya said in the moment, that's how it was coming across to her. Every single time, like, I had to talk to you about something, you were pulling out some type of sob story, which Kenya was, some type of sob story. Now, could it have just been a coincidence? Maybe. Were the stories that Kenya was saying plausible? Yes. If there's an issue with Brooklyn, I feel like you don't question people saying that their child is going through something. You know what I mean? So, nonetheless, Sanya and Kenya, I feel, if Sanya comes back for another season, I don't think they're going to gel well at all. I actually don't. So, they talk about Brooklyn's birthday party. Andy asks, why did Kenya think it would be a good idea to play that shady game? Kenya said she thought it would be like funny, shade, innocent tea. She didn't think it would be, saying that, Kandi sucks dick in locker rooms. So nobody still wants to admit what was going on, but or who said it. But Kenya still said that she still feels just as good right now as she did at the beginning of the season. We get a very small package on Sanya because nobody cares, but we get a small package on Sanya. She said that her season was a very wonderful experience. It's definitely harder being a housewife than an Olympian, and the reason that they are actively planning to have a baby now, which was a complete 180 from beginning of the season, is because she feels that Ross finally hears her now. When she was expressing how she didn't want to have a baby, and for him to say, okay, well then we won't have one, she said I guess in that moment that made her feel like he understands me. And I guess I don't get that because you're saying that your issue was that he wasn't helping out. He was completely checked out while you were when the baby first came, when Ducey came. So I don't know how him now saying, well, if you don't want one, fine, let's not have one. How does that mean he's going to be any better when the new baby comes? Is that me? Because that didn't make sense to me at all. So then we get on Drew saying, Drew in her 1930s, if your husband has a baby, you have to have one. Drew said she didn't mean it in that kind of way. Sanya said that she doubled down on Watch What Happens Live. Sanya, again, very weirdly gets very, very loud and low-key aggressive with Drew about it. And it's like, Sanya don't buck up with anybody but Drew. Nobody. And it's for whatever hell, maybe they need to give Drew that pep talk about don't let Sanya talk to you any kind of way. Because it is wild how Sanya likes to get buck with Drew and nobody else. That entire little situation didn't cause for you to get loud like that. It honestly and truly did not cause for you to get even loud and aggressive or even mad about that. That was so silly. Absolutely silly. So now we do a lot more of the questions from these questions from Twitter and social media. But Andy asked, so what is the real issue with Marlo and Kenya? Why, what was the breakdown? We know that for Kenya, it was when Marlo said that her mother didn't want her. But they asked Marlo. Marlo said that Kenya is very dismissive of her. She's always been dismissive. The only time that she really wanted to be friends with her was when she did not want her to be friends with Portia when they were going through their situation. And Kenya was like, you didn't want to be friends with Portia anyways. So what difference did that make? So Andy asks if they will ever be friends, or why does Marlo think that they will ever be friends after, she does so much talking about her. Marlo was like, I think it's over, I think I've done too much. I'm devastated and stressed. How will I ever go on? So Kenya was like, that's the psychopath or the sociopath coming out of her, because the fact that she like this is kind of you keep talking about people but you're not really understanding like the ramifications of your actions, and it says this ain't even your real name, Latoya Hutchinson. The way that Drew and Sanya's mouths open, Sheree Turner was like, don't you? You see, like Sheree even Turner was like, what? So I guess Marlo starts laughing hysterically, said that must have been from an arrest record from 20 years ago, and that was her best friend's name. I said, so you was using your friend's names when you were getting arrested? Okay. That's what I got from it. If I'm wrong, let me know, but that sounds a little shady boots. So then it turns into them going back and forth. Marlo asking Kenya, did she pay her taxes? Kenya said that Marlo's words don't hurt her because she's a vapid person. Kenya said a bunch of other big ass words that I can't repeat right now. Because I don't think I spelled it correctly when I wrote it. But she said that she's like a vapid person, and it's not hurtful when she says those things to her, but it's hurtful when she says things, when she's talking shit basically about other people that she cares about. So she's probably referring to like the scene about KANDI when Sheree and Marlo sat outside and went through that. Marlo then said that Kenya then says that Marlo talks about everything, but she doesn't talk about herself being in prison, and said that she slashed somebody in the face. Marlo gets very offended and mad by that and was like, you a lying bitch. I said, uh-oh, might be some truth. Might be a little bit of truth to that, because she got way too offended. Marlo said that Kenya is attacking her character, and when she gets online and posts about this tonight, she's expecting an apology. Kenya's asking to see Marlo's birth certificate. We see a birth certificate. It says Marlo, I think last name was Palmer, but we see the birth certificate. It was a bunch of back and forth. The two of them would never be friends, ever. They will never be friends. And I feel like that is okay. We have to let that go. We have to receive that, acknowledge it, and let it go. They will never be friends. And that's fine. So then finally we get on this situation with Sheree and Anthony. So Sheree said that Anthony said that he did not owe her anything, and that he did not say anything about her. And said basically, actually, Drew owes him his last check still. So Drew was like, oh, thank you, but let me check before my phone dies. Oh my gosh. So Drew starts playing some audio where apparently Anthony is saying that Sheree is lying and that he never said that Ralph was gay or all this other stuff. So Sheree said, okay, boom. So Sheree FaceTimes Anthony, who gets on there and embarrasses Drew ass because he said that he does not work for Sheree. He's never worked for Sheree, and Sheree doesn't owe him any money. He then goes on to say maybe he said Ralph was gay, but he doesn't recall. So now he's like completely flipping on Drew, and then said that he does not think Ralph is gay whatsoever, and then said that but he does think that Drew needed a storyline. I said, oh, Drew. Drew should have never got involved and wrapped up in Anthony's bullshit anyways. That man wanted to be on TV. That man just made it to the reunion. That's what he wanted. Let me know what you guys thought about the reunion part 2. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, and I will catch you guys next week for the finale. Peace.